you have this unlimited power that exists within you, that we all have access to. And when we get in touch with this power, you can do anything. And I'm going to tell you how I got there. So 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with brain cancer. And it completely changed my life. 6 years ago, I was living in downtown Toronto, and I was living the dream. Perfect job, youngest guy at the firm, being groomed for upper management, had all the wealth I wanted, friends, family, support, you name it. But despite having all that, I was completely unfulfilled. There was a part of me that wasn't nourished. And little did I know that my spiritual awakening would be getting brain cancer. So how brain cancer came into my life was, for those of you who have glasses, my vision started getting worse. And I just thought I needed a new prescription. So I went from getting blurry to distorted. And I went from getting distorted to seeing full on double. I'd be in a room like this, and I'd see two of everything. It got so bad that I was wearing an eye patch to work. Eventually one evening, I was out with a friend, and I vomited. And it was right then and there that I knew something was seriously wrong. The next day, I went to the hospital in Mount Sinai, checked in, told them I was seeing double. 20 minutes later, I was in a room, seeing a neurologist. Wow, this must be serious. So I got a CAT scan, revealed nothing. Next thing was an MRI. By the time that MRI rolled around, it was getting late. So they said, Brandon, it's probably good you stay the night. So I said, sure, let's get this over with. I'll be at work next week. So the next morning I wake up, and there's 4 doctors at my bedside. Lead doctor steps ahead and says, Brandon, there's no easy way to say this, but you have a tumor in your brain. I'm 26 years old. I've got my entire life ahead of me. No, Brandon. You have a tumor in your brain, and it's this big. In an instant, my life smashed into 1,000 pieces. Suddenly, everything I thought I knew, where I was headed, completely gone. I was completely overwhelmed. My biggest fear in my life, the fear of death, just presented itself to me. Imagine being put in a situation like that, facing your worst possible fear. I was completely overwhelmed, and I couldn't accept the situation. So I denied it. I suppressed it. I had to be happy-go-lucky Brandon, strong for everybody else, not showing any weakness. But the more I suppressed that feeling, the more it came up, to the point where I actually exploded and I broke down crying on a subway in Toronto. But I'll tell you, the minute I accepted my fear, the fear of death, was the moment it set me free. Because once I accepted death, was the moment I could finally process everything I was going through. I faced that reality, and what that did was it allowed me to tell the people I loved how much they meant to me, express to my friends how much of an impact they've had, cherish every moment, every breath, to be grateful for what I had. And the minute I surrendered was the minute I started getting in touch with this power, this ability that we all have, this power that told me that I would beat cancer, that I would survive. And I used it with laser precision to focus, to visualize what I wanted and see the life I was living, to be grateful, to be self-aware of everything I was feeling, to focus on what I really wanted. And 4 months of treatment, at the end of that, I got the good news. The doctor said, Brandon, you're cancer-free. It's phenomenal. What now? Oh, go live your life. What do you mean? I'm completely changed. I'm not the same person. When I left those hospital doors, I was fundamentally changed. But I had no manual. It was like getting kicked out of an airplane without a parachute. And I had to figure out who I am, Because through that experience, I was forever changed. And I was presented with a fork in the road, which one was saying, Brandon, take some time off, integrate what you've gone through. And the second was, well, Brandon, you spent 26 years becoming a businessman. There's expectations. You know, the fear of actually going down a path. And so what did I do? I reverted to what I knew. But the more I tried to live that life, the more evident it became that it no longer served me. I got sad, I got depressed. And eventually, I had to make a decision to let go of the past and to fully integrate what I'd gone through. So I completely quit my job. Everyone thought I was crazy. I moved back home to Ottawa. And when I got back home to Ottawa, I felt so excited. I was like, I can finally start living life. Within a week, the oncologist calls me back and says, you know what, Brandon, the reason why you've been limping like this and barely walking upstairs is because you have a vascular necrosis of your hips. It's a bone disease, and you need a double hip replacement. There's no cure. Click. Gotta beat cancer and I get dealt with this. It's terrible. So again, I denied it. I couldn't accept it. I did everything I possibly could. Acupuncture, juicing, you name it. But the more I tried to not accept that reality, the more resistance I had, the more depressed I got. And eventually what happened was I started grieving the loss of my former self. The loss of the businessman, the skier, the runner, the dancer, the cyclist. All these identities I thought I was that were all taken away. And once I let that go, I started getting in tap with that power that we all have. That power that does not change no matter what happens to us physically as people. It's your divine spark, it's your soul, whatever you want to call that. And what happened shortly after that? My hips healed. I had a mind over matter moment where I was able to unlock my hips, and I went to my orthopedic surgeon. And he was astounded. He's like, this has never happened before. I've never seen this. And shortly after that, that power started coming back. And I started realizing that I'm actually creating my own life. Based on my thoughts, based on how I feel, based on how I speak about myself. And I was getting in touch with that and intending what I really wanted. And that's what I really want to tell each one of you. Each one of you are creating your own lives based on how you feel your actions. We're doing it subconsciously, we're doing it consciously. And it's been 6 years since I've survived cancer. It's no longer who I am. It's part of my journey. But I share this story with you because I want you to know that you can do anything. And there are 3 things I want to leave with you right now. Okay, the first thing is self-awareness. When you bring self-awareness into your life is when you bring clarity. You know exactly where you are. It's looking at your life from an objective point of view and seeing whether your situation serves you or not. Whether you need to leave, whether you need something better. Okay? The second is free will. Free will is your ability to raise your hand and say, I no longer want to suffer. I don't deserve this pain. I am worthy. And the last one, perhaps the most difficult and hard one to do, is choice. Choice is making that decision that you are willing to face your fears, overcome your barriers, to let go and to surrender. But when you make that choice and that commitment to yourself, you will not regret it. Because you will get the most self-development, most nourishing rewards from that choice of taking that leap of faith. That's what I just want to share with you all. That's my story, and I hope it resonated with you.